Silicon Valley just woke up to a nightmare scenario. For 6 years, the United States believed it had a fail-safe button, a semiconductor kill switch designed to freeze China's AI progress for a decade. The plan was simple: deny them access to one specific machine. But a shocking new investigation by Reuters reveals that the plan has failed. Chinese engineers haven't just bypassed the blockade, they have built the impossible machine to break it entirely. We're talking about extreme ultraviolet lithography, or EUV. It is the crown jewel of modern technology. Without it, you cannot build the 5-nanometer chips that power advanced AI models like ChatGPT or Claude. Until now, only one company in the world, the Dutch giant ASML, could make these machines. Western officials bet everything that China could not replicate this tech before 2030. They were wrong. Reports indicate a working prototype is already sitting on a factory floor in Shanghai. To understand why this is a geopolitical earthquake, you have to understand the machine itself. An ASML scanner is not just a tool, it is a physics miracle. It weighs 180 tons, costs $250 million, and is the size of a double-decker bus. It fires lasers at tin droplets to generate light with a wavelength of just 13.5 nanometers. That is 1/14,000th the width of a human hair. It is the most precise machinery humans have ever built. The United States and its allies built a wall around this technology. They blocked exports, sanctioned companies, and strangled supply chains. The logic was that without the super-specialized mirrors from Germany and the lasers from San Diego, China would be stuck in the Stone Age of computing. But China didn't try to copy ASML's elegance. They went for brute force. According to sources, the new Chinese prototype, led by Shanghai Microelectronics Equipment, or SMEE, is a monster. While the Western version is a compact, bus-sized unit, the Chinese version reportedly sprawls across an entire factory floor. It is a tangle of beam lines, vacuum chambers, and control racks. It looks less like a product and more like a science experiment scaled up to industrial size. But here is the catch: size doesn't matter. The light does. The core breakthrough is that this sprawling machine is successfully generating that critical 13.5 nanometer light. That was the single hardest physics problem to solve. If they have mastered the light source, the export controls shift from a hard wall to a temporary speed bump. But how did they do it so fast? How did they compress 20 years of Dutch R&D into just 6 years? This is where the story turns into a heist movie. The West sanctioned the hardware, but they forgot about the wetware, the human brains. ASML's most valuable asset wasn't their patents. It was the engineers who knew how to fix the machine when it broke at 3 a.m. China launched an aggressive campaign to poach this talent. They offered massive signing bonuses, reportedly up to $700,000, along with blank checks for research. They targeted the veterans, the people with the institutional knowledge of the uncodified tricks that make these machines work. One high-profile case involved a former head of light source technology at ASML who moved to China. His team filed 8 patents in just 18 months. They weren't starting from scratch, they were downloading decades of experience directly from the experts' minds. This human heist allowed them to skip thousands of dead ends. Reverse engineering EUV from public documents is impossible. But with the engineers who actually built the original, it becomes a matter of funding and time. And Beijing has treated this like a Manhattan Project, throwing $47 billion and unlimited state resources at the problem. However, we need to pause for a reality check. There is a massive difference between first light and flawless chips. Generating the light is step 1. Step 2 is using that light to print billions of transistors without a single atom out of place. This is where the yield rate comes in. If your machine destroys 90% of the chips it tries to print, it is economically useless. The Chinese prototype still lacks the ultra-precise optics from Carl Zeiss. It lacks the decades of vibration isolation technology. The machine reportedly sits in a vacuum environment that is incredibly difficult to maintain. Every speck of dust is a disaster. Moving from a prototype to high-volume manufacturing took ASML 10 years. China is trying to do it in 2. But here is the scary part for Western policymakers. The timeline has just evaporated. ASML's CEO said only months ago that China was many, many years away. That buffer is gone. Whether through airtight secrecy or rapid innovation, the gap has closed faster than anyone predicted. The assumption that the West had a safe technological lead is now dead. If China can domesticate this toolchain, even with a clunky, room-sized machine, the global AI race gets redrawn. They won't need to smuggle NVIDIA chips if they can print their own rivals. The kill switch is broken. We are no longer looking at a blockade. We are looking at a sprint. This development changes everything about the next decade of technology. It proves that in the world of physics and engineering, there are no permanent monopolies.